Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to go through my end of the year 2024 product review, if you will. This is going to just cover what I ran this year, what I liked, what I didn't like, and just where I stand on what I've been using. So, simply here to break down with you and kind of give you my feedback on where I was for the year and kind of how things played out. So let's dive in. So starting off, the lift. Let's talk about it. I picked up my lift earlier this year in the spring, and I have absolutely loved this bow. This thing has been a phenomenal piece of ingenuity from Matthews. I have nothing but good things to say about it. And before anybody dives off the deep end with Matthews in the lift, I was one of the ones who actually did have splintering on my limbs. And I didn't have an issue with it. I understood that with any major corporation and company and mass production of any product, you can run into some issues where materials aren't always perfect. It's natural, it's normal. No matter what product in the archery world you buy, you're gonna run into issues where sometimes the materials aren't as perfect as they always should be, or the tolerance, whatever your issue with it may be. Arrows are no different, broadheads are no different. Limbs are no different. You have to understand they're under a tremendous amount of stress, and that is coming out of a sheet of material that no matter how perfect every sheet may seem, they could end up with defects. So I never really got too upset about it. I talked to my local shop, they sent it back and got the replacements and put everything back on for me, and we ran forward with no issues. So that's kind of my piece on it. The lift has been phenomenal for me. I am running match strings on here. I'll throw up another video so you can kind of see the bow in detail. Match strings and flare orange, kind of my go-to color. I just like that look and that contrast. I have an Excel back bar on here. I am running it at 80 pounds on the mods. I have the Matthews Low Pro quiver, which I just recently picked up. I have been using the Arrow Web for Matthews on there. If you've seen some of my other videos, you can see that I run my quiver upside down. I've talked about it before in those. If you have questions about it, drop them in the comments and I'll talk to you about it. The Low Pro, I can't do that. So unless I can figure out a workaround, it's gonna be the normal mount that you usually will see where my vanes are down, my broadheads are up. But I do have the UltraView UV slider on there. I have it with a good sight tape right now that I'm comfortable with and pretty excited for. Everything's dialed in pretty tight with it. I can punch out to about 120, 130 with it if I really want to get crazy out there. The Q80 MX2 as my release, and that's been tried and true. A lot of people have had some time with that, so I think that's a great product there. And yeah, it's kind of where we're at. The Chris B grip from UltraView as well. Can't say enough good things about Chris B and the UltraView product line. So that's the lift. That's where I've been with it as far as kind of where it's set up and where it's going to stay going into 2025. Those are the same things I'm going to keep on there and run on there. I do have my target bow, which is not truly a target bow, but I've turned it into kind of my target bow on my other Matthews. And if you want to get into a video on that, let me know. I'll jump down in there. But just hunting review, you know, hunting stuff, that's kind of where I'm at with my lift. I do also have the Stinger stabilizer on there with that mule end cap. I really do like the mule end cap. I think it's a super cool product. Rest against your form while you're carrying. It also helps with kind of stability on the bow if you do set it down as its own in the field, kind of on the go rest or stand. So those are pretty sweet. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. Mule stabilizers, they offer a cool different product line of their own stabilizers or caps that you can put on your stabilizer. So that's the bow. Moving on past it, let's dive into arrows. So on my arrows, I kind of stuck with the Victory on the Rip TKOs. I have both the Gamer and the Elites. This is where I'm at the end of the year here with this. So we're running a Elite, and it's in a 3-vane helical with the X vanes from Chris B as well. They have his wrap with that honeycomb style print on them, which I think looks pretty sweet and slick when it's on those Rip TKOs, because they also have that honeycomb kind of pattern to them. But the other things that I've run in regards to these arrows, and you'll see, I'll put up another little up close for y'all here in a second. The other style that I have set up is with AE Max, and these are four fletched on 250 spine, and all of them I'm running the Victory half in, half out 50 grain inserts on those. The last vein that I would recommend that I've kind of worked with this year is going to be the Air Razors. These are going to give you more of that stiff, similar feel and texture of a tack vein, if you will. I prefer these over a tack vein. I've had better adhesion with these. I don't dislike tack necessarily, but I think these have a better adhesion than tack for a stiffer vein. The downside, they aren't as great in the cold. So I'm up here in Alaska. You can run into some colder temps if you're shooting, and I've noticed that those, along with tacks, don't hold up as great when they get cold. They do get more towards the brittle side. So that's why I prefer having these X veins or the AE Max or the hybrids. They have a better flex point. They're a more supple and durable vein, so they've worked pretty well for that. That's where I'm at on arrows. The only other one I have up here is no longer what I'm shooting, but I have made these up for my wife. These are gold tip Kinetic Pierce. I have the Kinetic Pierce and the Kinetic Pierce Platinums. That's what I shot all last year. These are now going to be my wife's hunting arrows, and we've cut them down, veined them up for her, again with the AE hybrids on there. So there's arrows for you. Moving along, keep this ball rolling. We'll dive into releases. I have 3 releases here. On these 3, we're gonna go over what I've shot the most this year, and that's gonna be the Carter Wise Choice. The Carter Wise Choice is a phenomenal release. It's a lightweight, aluminum based body. The barrel on this one I have swapped out to the UV thumb barrel, simply because I like their texture on it and I like the size. It's a little more oversized compared to what Carter puts on theirs. The stippling that comes on Carter's stock one is not bad, but it's just not as aggressive as what I would like when I have that feel on my thumb. So I did swap it, but that's been more recent. I have shot their stock one pretty much the entirety of this year, and it'll do you just fine. Just use your preference. Again, you can change things on the fly for whatever works for you. This is a very short throat, so you're gonna have a pretty close anchor point, and if you like that, you like it. If not, adjust what you will. Look for a different release if that's what you need. This is, again, just what I've shot the most this year and have a lot of confidence in. Carter does a really good job. They do offer work on those releases. If you need something, you can simply email them. They'll get right back to you. They're a phenomenal company, small, USA made, so make sure you support them if you do decide to go Carter. They are not going to let you down. The other one that I have, I picked this up about midway through the year, the UV Hinge. This is the UV Hinge 2. So it does have the kind of newer version where it has the, I believe they are rare earth magnets, or a rare earth magnet in there for resetting on the release itself. They do have the click and fire hot adjustment manufactured on there, so you can quickly adjust and know which way you're turning your Allen. It has indicators, so you can also see where you're moving, and you can kind of make your mark if you need to, or you know what mark you were on when you're adjusting that. This has been awesome. I primarily have used this for 3D and like target style shooting, just to refine my shot process, slow myself down. I shoot it without the click. That's just user preference again. It's adjustable where the click and fire can both be manipulated. So if that's something you're looking for, that might be a good option for you. The last one, this is new to me. I have shot it a couple times now and kind of felt out where I want to be with it. I do like it a lot, is the UV button. The UV button has a longer throat. So for me, I haven't noticed any major changes in my shot groups. I do feel a change in my anchor point. You can simply adjust that, change that by the length of your D loop if you need to. You might potentially have to work with your draw length if it's really noticeable or really affecting you. But it does have a longer throat from a Carter, so some stuff to think about when you're looking at a new release or determining what you'd like. The nice thing about this is you have a cock and once it's on and cocked, you have a secondary gate, if you will. I don't know what UV's calling it, but you have another clip there that you can have retention. Once this is clipped onto the string, it'll stay, it'll hang out, and that's pretty cool. I enjoy that feature out of UV because I'm used to that feature from shooting the Wise Choice. You can cock this and it's locked onto your string and it'll stay there. The other product that I really like, I only have one and it's for my Carter, for the Wise Choice, is this Kydex holster. I do not remember off the top of my head. I apologize. If there's any interest in it, put it in the comments. I'll go find the company and I'll put them in there for you, or send you the description of what company this was from. But they make Kydex holsters and they're custom to different releases. I know that they will do the UV, they'll do Carters, they'll do stands, and I believe they do true balls as well. You can have a clip or a molly retention on the back. You can pick any color design that you want, front, back. I believe they do an insert too if you want like a third color. So that's super cool to keep on your belt or on your harness if that's something that you like as far as retention, without wrapping it around your wrist or having some sort of leash or lanyard to release. But again, everybody's going to have their own choice when it comes to that. I don't shoot wrist release. I like having a handheld, and I prefer button for hunting. So kind of a cool thing to keep with you. Even if you're just doing target shooting or 3D, you can put on your belt and it's right there ready for you if you don't have a full quiver set up or anything like that. It's a nice safety net of a clip. It's with you. But I'll do it for releases. Those are 3 that I'm shooting. Those are 3 that I'm going to keep shooting, and super excited to see how that button performs through the next year for 2025 when I start getting more into the spring bear and summertime hunts. All right, moving past those releases. Big one that everybody likes to talk about is broadheads. For me, mechanical. That's been the name of the game this year. I have shot a couple fixed. I tried out a couple different fixed. I really wanted to dive into just putting my hands on as many mechanicals as I can, testing them out, stress testing them, shooting long range, and just seeing how they all kind of grouped, how they performed, how they stood up next to each other. And these are what I've settled on. The caveat to what I have on the table here is the G5 dead meat and the G5 mega meat. I don't have any with me. I thought I did at the house, so I apologize. I'll talk on it, but I don't have any to show you. The biggest thing that I have when it comes to those from G5 for the dead meat and the mega meat is the mega meat has the longer blades to them. What I had in my testing or my experience was that the mega meats still perform and leave a massive hole and have no big difference from the dead meats. Other than at longer distance, I had less group accuracy. They did start to spread out on my shot, and the 60 to 70 range is where I started really seeing some wild groups where I had a 6-inch group instead of a 3-inch group. They kind of doubled in that, as opposed to the dead meats. The dead meats have those shorter blades. I'd like those a little bit more for the accuracy's sake. They also leave a nasty, nasty hole, and I did get lucky and get to use that a couple times this year. Have nothing but good things to say about it. That's not going to be a go-to for me in a long range shot, but they are very reliable, very accurate on your 40s and under. 50 is still okay with the dead meat, but again, I think there's some others here that are better for those longer distances. Now, the other one that I have here that's a little more unique as we run through, and I'll start with it, is the B3 Meg. I was excited to see this because it's a cool design and it's pretty eye-catching when you're looking at it. The downside to this broadhead that I have the biggest bugaboo about, and I should say the downside, there's 2 things that I think are the weak point. One, the retention system on the blade. The retention system is one of the issues that I have with this, and in saying that, this retention system is a friction fit or tension fit retention system. I think it's a good design in the way that the blades are a swept rear deploying, but what I don't like about the system that's designed on how these are with the Meg now is there's 2 major points that I've seen as an issue. The first is being that retention system. The blades are not all perfect. The design of each blade has its own tolerance on all three of those blades. So if that blade doesn't come out of the manufacturing process exactly the way that you would want it to, or that the design is meant for, you might have a friction fit that's too tight or too loose. And there's no real good way to fix that from the customer standpoint, because you can't bend them, you can't tweak them, you're gonna mess it up if you try. How do I know? I did it. I was messing around with them to see, can I make this easier or a tighter fit? It doesn't really work for you without just totally shredding through blades and jacking them up. The other issue that I have with it is they do have a star key. They give you on the replacement blade kit the tool to open and get into that. The downside to it is I've seen more of these blades in my attempt at testing them, and then even through shooting them through animals. The critical failure point is right there at that screw point, and the blades have snapped from that. They've done their job, but something to be added or refined, I guess, in their process. So the good thing is the chisel point on these is phenomenal. They shoot extremely fill point accurate. I do like that a lot. I would like to see B3 go in and maybe refine that process on their retention system a little bit better. The chisel point on these is phenomenal, so I do like that. The overall design is not bad. I wouldn't suggest them as a go-to grab, absolute put it in your quiver and run this as a primary. I think they're fun to play with. I think that they are worth it if you're gonna shoot close at some smaller animals. I did put one through a pig in Texas. It did its job. It was phenomenal. I have it here and I can show that one to y'all. But you know, I think they're a little lackluster for what they could be. I think there's a great opportunity to build from that. So hopefully B3 maybe looks at that and refines that design a little bit as we go forward into the next year or two. Next one's my tried and true, the Schwackers. The Schwacker, specifically here with this one, it is the Levi Morgan edition. And the cool thing about these that I really like and have really just built my confidence in with these is the fact that you have not only a band you can run on here, but you have a hunting plug, a silicone plug that you can slide into the top eyelet, cut off each end, and you have a solid plug that's going to be in there and will not allow the blade to deploy until it impacts. And that's awesome because I don't prefer a band over it. I don't want to worry about cutting a band by accident. You can alleviate that by running the hunting plug on these. The blades are replaceable, and you have a third screw that can be shifted to that top hole where the hunting plug would be to keep these locked closed for practice. So if you decide you want to shoot that in a practice setting, you absolutely can. If you tear up the blades a little too much just for doling them out on practice, or maybe you do hit something in your target, you can swap the blades out. The cool thing about these is Schwacker also has practice versions that are fixed, closed with a non-deploying practice head and practice blade. These are not like a hunting one that you can swap. So these are good for just solely dedicating to practice. If you don't want to go out of your way and buy a second thing of practice arrows, or if you don't want to go out of your way and buy a set of practice broadheads, these allow you to shoot as if they were practiced by moving the screw. The other ones that I have are the smaller, more straight blade swept back. These do not have the same features that Levi Morgans do. These do require a band. There is no second or third eyelet that you can replace or swap the screw around and put a hunting plug in. These are band only. Again, a great option. They aren't going to cost you as much as the Levi Morgans for a 3-pack. They're going to be a little bit cheaper, and they still perform just as well. They do come in 100 and 125. So Schwackers overall are a great namesake to me. I will continue to use those. They shoot phenomenal at long range. Can't say anything but good things about them. After that, I did try out the Rage no collars. This one looks a little bit different than this one, simply because I've shot this one through an animal and put replacement blades, and their replacement blades from the no collars or even the hypodermics will fit. So this has hypodermic replacement blades on it, where this has the no collar because it's the stock standard one that I haven't shot. And that's cool, it will work. So you have that ability where if you can't find the exact no collar blade that you bought in the pack when it came stock, you can put the hypodermic ones on. They're the same length and they fit just the same. All that technology is the exact same through those as far as the blades go. I do like the no collar system, their retention system on it is good. I didn't have any bad deployments or faulty deployments. I shot one of those through a caribou. I believe it was 117 yards and full pass through, double lung. It absolutely devastated. So that was cool. I like that a lot. Next is going to be the G5. This is going to be the other G5 product that I'm super pumped about. I shot one of these through a pig in Texas as well. Left a nasty hole. These come disgustingly sharp from G5, so they did a really good job. The T2, it has its own retention system. They kind of patented, I believe, a ball and socket type system for retention. These are wickedly sharp and they stay nice and tight and closed. It does take a little bit of force, so if you're a low poundage shooter, maybe think about if you want to run these and be cautious, but I think if you're shooting 50 pounds and above, you should have no issues with it. The good thing about that tight retention system is, again, you don't have to worry about the faulty or premature deployments from inertia kind of popping those on you. These are phenomenal. Also 100 and 125 grain options on them, and the blades are freaking wildly sharp, so those are cool. So the last one that I have here for the mechanicals is the Sever Titanium Hybrid 1.5. It's a 2.2 inch total cutting surface that's with the main blades and the bleeder blades, but it is a 1.5 hybrid. So what's cool about the Severs, and a lot of people have seen these, they're not brand new. They've been out for a bit. They're newer to me. I just ordered some because I'm excited to try these going into 2025. But they are a locking main blade where once these have deployed and they lock out, they swivel with each other. So the blades are fixed in a deployed setting where they will swivel back and forth for you. And similar to the idea behind the Beast for Josh Bomars with the bone avoiding technology, this allows these blades to swivel around any bone or hard tissue or something that might snag up and keep that momentum and that penetration going forward through that broadhead. So that's cool. And again, as long as there's equal pressure, they're going to stay deployed evenly and flush through that ferrule. These are a titanium ferrule with a rubber band as far as the retention system. And I have yet to put them through anything, so we'll see. But Sever is a resounding, tried and true company. I don't have any doubt that these are not going to perform well. From what I've seen, the accuracy on these is pretty gnarly through any testing that I could do with them. So we'll see how that goes in 2025. The 3 remaining are going to be 3 fixed. Now with these 3 fixed, there's one I'm going to tell you I don't like. We're going to stay away from, at least in my opinion. The other 2, good to go. They're pretty solid for me. First, we're going to go over this Ozcut. Now with the Ozcut, it is a single piece construction. They are single bevel with almost like a helical offset on the blades. They're not terrible in the way of construction. They are pretty freaking durable. What I didn't like about these is I did not get consistent arrow flight and grouping from them, and I tried everything I could for broadhead tuning. I tried knock tuning, I tried different vanes for stability and flight. I went from, a short range to a medium range and played around until I could try to get the sweet spot. I never got these to fly great. I never got these to fly where I was satisfied. And even though they are very durable broadhead in the form of they're smaller, not as long, compact, some good weight to it and density in that steel, they didn't hold the edge very well. They don't come stock from the manufacturing process extremely sharp. So you're kind of banking on speed, really, to try to get this thing to force its way through. I'm not saying you can't sharpen them if you really wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, but I don't want to spend the money on a product that I have to put extra work into. I'm fine with maybe a touch up, but not trying to get a blade that I feel comfortable actually putting through an animal. So they're not a bad design. I know some people really do like the Ozcut. I don't prefer this one. These are the Ozcut Hurricanes. I think they're a cool look, but lackluster in the performance aspect. So that's not going to be something that I continue with. I'll probably just play with the ones I have left and tear them up as I compare them to other stuff. But the next one here is another G5 product, and these have been around for a hot minute. So everybody that's seen G5 knows that these are kind of one of their OG designs that's been around for a minute, and they are pretty freaking solid. I do like these a lot. They come in a skeletonized version and a solid version. The edges and blades on them themselves are designed where that chisel tip transfers into the blade itself. There's no change on the angle or design of it, so you do get a lot of that carrying momentum and inertia through the blade itself the whole way through, cut on contact. And they do leave a good three blade style hole, but very tried and true when it comes to these. G5 has a pretty good reputation when it comes to both their fixed and their mechanical. Last one that I got for you is my favorite this year, one that I'm going to continue to carry at least one in the quiver at all times, is the Muzzy Trocar. And with the Trocar, it is a smaller profile, more in the length of a Oscut. However, these are probably the most accurate fixed blades that I've shot, comparative to some of the other ones that are out on the market. I like these a lot. I think they're a great contender if you're looking for a 3-blade fixed and you want that ability to have some safety net or comfortability in leaves or grass or something that you might be shooting over through. If you have that risk, these are going to do just fine. They cut through, they're sharp, and the impact on these is field point accurate. So Muzzy Trocar, phenomenal broadhead. I recommend that highly for anybody who is dedicated more towards that fixed blade style. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. We'll keep it short, sweet, and to the point. This is what I've had for 2024. These are the products that I've kind of spent my time in testing and trying out, putting in the field. And the Sever along with the UV button are going to be awesome products, I think, going into 2025 that I'm excited to really put to the test as well. So there it is. That's just my rundown for the 2024 end of the year wrap up on where I'm at with kind of the products I've seen and got to mess around with when it comes to those arrows, vanes, releases, broadheads. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking around and watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Please hit that like button, subscribe, join the channel, help me grow a little bit here. Kind of getting ready to really ramp back up here in the next month or two, getting into some target shooting, getting refined in the winter time here. I'm super excited to see what 2025 has to offer, but thanks for sticking around, and we will see you on the next one.